Okay, guys, it's Moshe coming to you from Israel in the Galilee. Today is Wednesday, the 23rd of April, I think. Let's check. Yep. And it's 9:15 in the morning. I'm a little on the early side today. I got up pretty early, and I was working last night on what I'm going to deliver to you today, which is I'm going to show you a long list of details, factual information, not, guesstimate theories that are going to point that you'll see plain as day that the attack on Iran is highly, highly likely going to come in the latter days of May. I have a long list of things I'm gonna go with you, okay? And you'll see it really plain as day. I haven't seen anybody else work this out yet, but they probably will, okay? And we'll touch on Bible prophecy as we go, and I think you'll really see what I'm talking about. So while people are coming in, I'm going to go into the live stream. I hope my moderators are here. I'm a little early, they may not be, but we'll find out soon enough. Whoa. This is a pain in the neck thing. Let me get it out of here. It's an old bottle of some kind of sauce or something. Okay. It's like a sweet chili sauce that I don't really use much anymore, but I probably should use it. Okay, let's jump into the live stream. Some kind of sauce or something. Okay. Well, we got plenty of sound and picture. Background white noise. You are correct. I know what it is. It's a fan. And give me a minute and I'll shut it off. There's no reason for it to be on right now. Okay, no more white noise. I had the fan on last night for the dogs, and one gets up about 3:30 in the morning and decides that she wants to go to the bathroom. The last time she was out was 9 o'clock. It was 9:15 at night. I figure I'd give it a benefit of doubt. I'll let her out. And then the other one wants to go out, and then they want to have a party. They want me to order a couple of extra large meat lover delight pizzas or something and have a party. So I got back to sleep, sort of, kind of, but then I got up real early. So okay, I'm going to put a couple of quick posts up in the chat while people are coming in, and that's not going to take a long time. Of course, there's always going to be a few they're going to leave, but they could leave. I'm not worried about that. Now I got to switch over to the different keyboard for Android. I think I like the Android keyboard better than the Apple. We might have a little buffering as this idiot thing puts up some notice and cuts the live stream off for a few seconds that I should update something. And when that happens, I'll jump up and get it and shut it off real quick. Don't worry about it. Get my email address up there. You hear the birds, but that's not white noise. I think that's pleasant. I like hearing the birds. I was sitting outside yesterday on the chair, and not one of our birds, some wild bird came and landed on my arm. I don't know why the guy did that. I just shook my arm and he took off. But that happens once every 2 or 3 years. But they buzz me all the time when I sit outside. I'm by the bird aviary, and they go by the aviary because the birds drop food and it falls out of the aviary and they eat it. And they, I don't know, our birds like them, I guess, and they like each other. They kind of socialize, and they think, I don't know what they think I am, but they fly 2-3 inches away from my head. What are you going to do? They probably figure I'm friendly because the other birds not alarmed by me, so they probably figure I'm an okay guy. We're going to hit 94 today. We hit 97 yesterday, and the house was still cool. Today, I'm not so sure how cool it'll be, but I don't think it's going to be hot. But I think after today, the house will be warmed up, and then our temperatures will be dropping after today. They'll be running in the low to mid 80s and the high 70s, which is pretty good weather. No complaints there. Okay, I've got everything done. Guys, if you're using Patreon for the offerings, it would be appreciated at this point in time, because we're hitting critical mass here with the Daughter of Babylon. I think it's time, if you could possibly switch it over to PayPal, it would be much appreciated, because PayPal that we use in Israel is not located in America, and I can get the money into the Israel banking system rather quickly. I'm not expecting the Israel banking system to go down the road very quickly, but I'm worried about America. And also it's hard for me to get the money from Patreon into Israel. It's involves different gyrations, more fees. It's annoying to me, but I mean, if you got to use Patreon, go ahead. But if you could use PayPal, it would be really much appreciated. It's so much easier, and I have my relationship with them pretty okay right now, and there's other people in Israel like PayPal I might add on. It's not actually PayPal type, but it's close, and I understand they're easy to work with, so I might add some of those in. But I know some of you in the UK can't transfer money to, or some parts of the UK cannot transfer money into Israel now because they're considering us, I don't know, a shady character or something. I believe it's Ireland, and it might be some other parts. I'm not entirely sure. But I don't have a terribly large amount of subscribers in the UK. I've got a bunch, but Canada and America are okay. Now, if you're using GoFundMe and you're using it because you have no other way to do it, I understand that. But if you can switch to GoFundMe, which very few people use these days, over to PayPal, I'd appreciate that too. Okay, thank you. I'm going to do some praise and then we'll get going. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 All right. So why am I telling you it really looks like there's going to be an attack on Iran in late May? Now, I'm not going with the only Israel. Okay? I think it's going to, when you look at it, it's going to look like America and Israel. Now, America may use Israel to attack, to start it off, and then when Iran retaliates, they'll join in. That's almost the same thing, really. It just gives Trump better reasons why he didn't go to Congress for a declaration of war and why he had to do it, and stuff like that. They keep trying to impeach Trump, so I could see what he's doing. There was a phone call between Trump and Netanyahu yesterday or the day before, and Trump came out and said that Netanyahu and him are in agreement on all points. So that would mean Syria, Hezbollah, Hamas, Yemen, and Iran, maybe Iraq. Okay? Before we dissect, well, let's get into it. Let's just cut right to it. You guys are going to really see what I'm talking about. Digging out my notes, and we're going. In the last week or so, about 20 heavy cargo planes, like C-17s, C-5s, from America came to Israel, to our Nevatim base in South Israel. Now, this is a lot. 2 of these planes is usually what you'll see come to Israel, and then nothing might come for 2 or 3 months. This is huge, okay? These cargo planes are so big and they can carry so much. You realistically could probably put a small super yacht inside one of these and fly it around. I'm not kidding about that. It's so unprecedented. It's amazing, okay? Now, they weren't flying, corn and hot dogs over here, It was war equipment. Now, it could have been missile systems, but we have quite a bit of those already. And I'm pretty sure what it predominantly was weapons, offensive, defensive, whatever. Probably a lot of bombs, maybe missiles. We'll get into the fire in New Jersey, too, later on. It's serious. Wildfire in Jersey. It's already started to burn a retired Oyster River nuclear plant that's retired, and they have the spent uranium materials stored there, and the fire is already hitting those buildings. Yeah. It's a big fire. They're downplaying it, but it's getting out. It's a serious fire in New Jersey. There's some military bases near the fire, but I believe the closest one is 18 miles, and that's quite a bit of distance, really it is. And it has a lot of weapons that are stored for American warships. And if the fire hits there, which is, again, 18 miles is pretty long distance, okay? It would probably cause a lot of secondary explosions from the fire hitting the explosives and they blow up. But let's not jump the gun. Okay, we don't have any containment figures yet. It's very early on. They're probably calling in reinforcements from fire departments in the area. And, let's give it some time and we'll know more about it. Okay. Now, here's a big giveaway. Okay. A big giveaway. Trump is going to visit 3 countries. Now, there's a discrepancy in the dates by one day. It's no big deal. The dates he's going to, well, these countries are the UAE, close to Iran and pretty friendly with America, we would think. Saudi Arabia, who I think is just playing games with Iran and really is against them. And the UAE and Saudi Arabia are very, very close. And Qatar, who Trump likes and Israel is not that fond of. So Trump's going to visit these 3 countries starting on either the 13th or the 14th of May this year, like in less than a month, right? And he's going to be there from either the 13th or the 14th to the 16th. So he's going to be, it doesn't say anything about Israel. I don't think it's safe for Trump to come to Israel because there's too much that could happen. And this, I don't think he's safe going to these other countries either, but, he didn't call me up and say, hey, Moshe, what do you think I should do? So anyway, he's probably going to spend a day with each of these countries. Now, what I'm pretty sure this is these are the final assurances before the war starts to make sure they hang in there. Jordan, I think he's got covered. Okay. Kuwait, Bahrain, and maybe, I don't know. He's either not that worried about them or they're getting closer to, well, Bahrain's not. He's probably just going to send it, like a 1-star or a 2-star general or something over there. Or somebody else. So this, I believe, is the final assurances where he sits down and he says, okay, do you have all the equipment we gave you? You got it running. Do you need anything? You feel comfortable? We're with you. We love you. We blah, 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 blah. Okay. I'm with you. I'm the Donald and, that kind of stuff. Okay. The pep talk, final assurances. All right. So I do not think the war is going to come until after that. Now, that being said, being in end times, I have to throw this out there. This could not, maybe this is not real and it's just a ruse to make Iran think the war is going to come after that visit, and it may come a few days before the visit or more likely the days of that visit, those 3 or 4 days, because Iran would think, oh, Trump's never going to start a war when he's visiting the Middle East. We could go after him. They could try anyway, right? So that's always a possibility because I'm seeing Trump being very deceitful with Iran, okay, in these negotiations. Now, on these negotiations, I want to tell you what just happened. Today, being Wednesday in Israel, some of you may be on the West Coast or Hawaii or something. It's not yet Wednesday. It's Wednesday in the Middle East. And Iran yesterday postponed the technical negotiations that was scheduled for Oman. That's the country to the right or the east of UAE, in the Sea of Oman, which is in between the Persian Gulf and the Indian Ocean. It's not a great big thing, but it's substantial enough. I couldn't swim across it. Just kidding. All right. So, it's a possibility that this is a ruse to keep Iran thinking. But the postponing the nuclear stuff is Iran dragging their feet. Now, let's understand a couple of things about Trump. You might like him, you might not like him, but do understand this person has a pretty high IQ and could think many layers deep. Like he's planning something, he'll say, well, okay, we'll do this. If they do this, we'll do this. If they do that, we'll do that. If they do this, okay. You understand? And this is not the village idiot. This is not the dullest pencil in the box. Trump, not at all. Okay? Now, is Trump under delusions? Yes. Is he in a snare based on Jeremiah, 50, verse 24 from Jehovah? He is. But don't think he's stupid. And he understands what Iran is doing. And that's just the icing on the cake for Trump to realize Iran is not serious with these negotiations. Iran is trying to drag things out so they can fortify themselves, work more with Russia and China and North Korea and whatever to hold up against the American and Israeli onslaught to come. And I expect other countries will be involved. But they're keeping that under wraps. We could only guess. Okay, more facts. The U.S. General Kurilla, which is a 4-star general and the head of CENTCOM, which runs the Middle East military for America, is coming to Israel in the coming days. I would expect by the weekend or on the weekend. Why is he coming here? Well, he's going to meet with Netanyahu for sure, and he's going to meet with Israel's generals, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Army. And how you doing, guys? You got everything ready? You all set up? What do you need? Things working okay? This type of thing. We're with you, blah, blah, blah. Okay? That's probably the last visit he's going to make before the attack, and that's going to come in the next several days. Now, are there going to be more cargo planes coming in? I don't know. What's my guess? Probably. But I don't know. We now have, here we go with more facts, okay? Get ready for this. We now have 2 aircraft carriers in theater in the Middle East. They're kind of underneath Saudi Arabia, so it's out of range of the missiles that the Houthi rebels, the Houthi terrorists in Yemen are using. And yet it's easy flight distance to go bomb Yemen. America is currently, and for some days now, bombing Yemen day and night. The phraseology is 24/7. Last night or yesterday afternoon, they took out an important port that is in Yemen that the Houthis were using. Now, they didn't just bust it up. It's like burned and, it's like totaled. Like if it was a car, it was totaled out in the wreck. Okay, they totaled it out. All right? What does that mean? Work with me carefully here. That means that Russia, Iran, China, or the other host of jerks can't bring weapons into Yemen via ships anymore. Where are they going to dock up? The regular Yemen government is too scared of Trump to let them dock up at their ports. See, the Houthis control a good amount of Yemen. Okay? The Yemen army, we're going to talk in detail about what's going on with them and what they're going to do against the Houthis, which is coming any day. We're going to get into that. So that cuts off transferring cargo, missiles, drones, radar, or whatever, to the Houthis in Yemen. Coming in by land, that's a little tough. I don't know how they're going to do that. Okay, the borders aren't really with countries that are going to help them with this. Okay. Now, and that's the big thing. And you're putting stuff on trucks, and you got to have caravans, 100, 200 trucks. Everybody sees it. They know what's going on. That's probably not a viable alternative. Well, Moshe, what if they just fly the missiles and drones in on planes? Well, good point. What I think you're going to see, probably when the Yemen army starts rising up violently against the Houthis, which is days away, you're going to see America, probably with the help of Yemen, or maybe not, put a NOTAM up over Yemen and the Houthi, maybe just the Houthi territories in Yemen. What a NOTAM means, it's a no-fly zone. Fly at your own risk. If you come into the area and a radar picks you up, we're going to fire missiles at you. You know, that type of thing, right? So now America cut off the replenishment of destroyed weapons from the massive American bombings, and they are massive. They're not coming in by sea. That's already historically happened yesterday, and when the time comes, they won't come in by air. I don't think Iran and China, I don't think they're going to be that quick to come in by air. When they come in by sea, they can load up a merchant marine vessel with containers of weapons, and the ship is flagged in Malaysia, Indonesia, or Oshkosh, Bagash, or someplace, and it doesn't necessarily look like China or Russia or Iran brought it in. But when you start talking about airplanes, that's another story. That's not something that is going to work out, because they'll follow the tracking of the aircraft. They're going to shut this down. Trump has not yet completely neutralized the Houthis. Last night, was it nighttime? Yesterday. It was evening, I think, or nighttime. They launched another ballistic missile, this time towards Haifa, up in the north on the Mediterranean. So they got another missile off, and it was taken down. It was intercepted and destroyed. So I thought China was telling them to cut this stuff out. They might have gone back to China, just reading into it now, and said, listen, they take down 100% of our missiles. They'll take this one down too, but we at least make them run to the bomb shelters. And China might have said, okay, that's one theory. Another theory is that China gave them a missile, as evidenced by the longer reach of this missile. Instead of going into South or Central Israel, this was reaching up towards the north already. So China might have wanted to use Yemen or the Houthis in Yemen to test a missile. The same logic goes, China may be giving them in Yemen anti-ship missiles to test those against American warships as well. Okay? Or China changed its mind and went back and said, yeah, attack Israel. Okay, now, 2 aircraft carriers are here now. Okay, the Carl Vinson and the Harry Truman. There's another one coming. I don't know if it's the Abraham Lincoln or the other one. Trump is collecting 4 aircraft carriers in theater in the Middle East. These aircraft carriers can carry up to 90 aircraft. So if you run this out, you've got a max of 360 aircraft. I think you're probably going to wind up coming in at about 320 due to the nature of the different aircraft and, you know, other weapons they're bringing with them. But it could be 360. This is a substantial amount of aircraft. Don't kid yourself. We're not talking about fighting China or Russia. We're talking about fighting Iran, which has a dilapidated ancient aircraft, and they might be able to muster up 2 or 3 dozen 4 dozen, I doubt, maybe 2 dozen, 3 dozen Cold War era aircraft with a tiny amount of Chinese jets, maybe 2 or 3 or 1, or, So they can't get any aircraft going. Okay? Iran doesn't have this, all right? Iran doesn't have stealth submarines that can launch missiles from under the surface, and they don't have this kind of stuff, okay? They just don't, all right? So this one of these aircraft carriers is likely going to show up in theater in the Middle East as soon as this weekend, or if not on the weekend, I would think by Monday or Tuesday next week, something like that. Maybe it'll even be here Friday or Saturday. That gives 3. Where is Trump going to position the third aircraft carrier? I'm not sure. By Diego Garcia would be a good guess. Another guess might be the Mediterranean, but I'm not high on that theory, but it's a possibility. I think near the Persian Gulf. Okay? And the 4th aircraft carrier should be here by the last day of April. So I would think by May 1st, the 4 aircraft carrier groups will be here. They're each running, I'd say, between 3 and 4 escort vessels. So when you have the other 2 come here, let's figure we got 8 escort vessels and 2 aircraft carriers. So the ship count in the area from America is getting up there. Okay? I think by the time he hits Iran, there'll be between 40 and 50 American warships in theater. That's a lot. They launch missiles, They do takedowns, these escort vessels. They can attack other warships. They can attack submarines. They can attack land targets. They can even attack aerial targets. This is Boku firepower, kids. You got to get that down. Plus, I would say Trump probably has between 1 and 200 other aircraft in Diego Garcia and in other countries in the Middle East that are friendly to America. And Israel has over 300 highly capable fighter jets and roughly 40 or so, maybe 40 something F-35s. We have 8 or 9 refueling tankers. America has a bunch. The UAE has a bunch. So this staging for the war is coming in. America has no interest in being outgunned. Now, the Yemen army is going to rise up against the Houthis. They're recruiting tens of thousands of additional soldiers. You better believe America's giving them support, okay? Probably weapons, probably advisors, maybe special forces experts to help them. Air cover, intelligence gathering, everything. They're going to rise up against the Houthis. Now, that being said, there's pieces of geography in Yemen where the people there, they have, the tribes type of thing. You're dealing in Yemen with highly illiterate people that don't read and write. They chew this stuff, kaki or something, K-A-K, I don't know what it is. It's some sort of stimulant. It's not cocaine or coca. It's something different. I don't know much about it. I've never seen or tasted it. I have no idea, but it's a stimulant. And it probably rots their teeth and their gums. It probably causes stomach and digestive tract issues, trachea issues, tongue issues, teeth issues, and probably nerve conditions. And it's just garbage, but they love it, so they chew it. This takes place in other countries too around the world. Okay. This other area in Yemen where these tribes are favorable or friendly with the Houthis have said they're hooking their wagon to the Houthis' wagon train and they're going to help fight with them. So what you're getting here is you're getting a division. It's not just one group, it's others too. So you're getting ready for what is called a violent civil war in Yemen. And it's probably days away. The Yemen government has gotten the idea that if they just sit back or sit on their hands while the Houthis on a daily basis keep trying to hit Israel and destroy American warships and kill thousands of sailors, they're sitting here saying, well, what the heck do we do if these idiots actually take down an aircraft carrier and kill 5,000 people, American Navy people, and destroy many billions of dollars worth of aircraft and everything else? Well, what would America do? Well, the old song that would indicate what America's going to do has a name called Wipeout. It's about surfers. I think you would see something like 3,000 to 5,000 bombs dropped on Yemen. Am I saying that the possibility of the Houthis taking out an American warship with weapons coming from Russia, Iran, North Korea, or China is off the table? I am not saying that. Am I saying that Trump's going to do a false flag or type thing and let the ship get hit? No, I'm not saying that. They're trying their darndest to make sure the ships don't get hit. Not just the aircraft carriers, but also the destroyers, the missile cruisers, and so forth. And you better believe there's a bunch of submarines floating around here now. You just better believe it. If you don't believe it, you're being very naive. America does not move this amount of naval hardware without several submarines protecting them. Okay? You'll have sub-Hunter submarines, you'll have all kinds of submarines, nuclear powered, and they'll be hunting for anything trying to stalk these ships, okay? And does Iran have submarines that could hold up to American submarines? Well, the fight there would be like a miniature French poodle attacking a big male lion in his prime. No, they don't. Could they tag an American submarine with a missile, with a torpedo? I would give that a 1 in 10 chance or 1 in 100. I mean, no. The Americans will know where they are and they'll sink the sub before the sub gets close enough to shoot a torpedo at them effectively. It's ridiculous. What about China and Russian submarines? Well, now you're talking about a different ballgame altogether. But we're not seeing that yet. It could happen. Listen, China and Russia may pop up in the Middle East with 25 or 40 or 50 warships. And that could include a Chinese aircraft carrier. It can include missile cruisers, destroyers, submarines that can launch missiles under the surface and all this kind of stuff, right? Have we seen this yet? No. Could it happen? Definitely. Am I expecting it? No. So Yemen's headed towards a civil war. So between the bombings of Yemen day and night on the Houthis, there's been about 500 Houthis dead already, and a lot of them were commanders, high-ranking people. But I'm talking 500 out of 67,000. Oh, the stuff they chew is called cat. I'm sorry, Khat. I had it confused. Cat, that's the junk they chew. Now, they don't just chew it during war. It's just a lifestyle with these goofballs, you know. We're not talking about drinking coffee. This is probably 10 or 20 times stronger than coffee. This is not something good for you, okay? So, their port's been destroyed. They can't get new weapons and equipment in by sea. They will put a NOTAM on them when the Yemen army starts moving. They want to make sure nobody else lobs missiles or comes with planes to shoot missiles or drones or something on the Yemen army to back up the Houthis. And there'll be a NOTAM. And there'll be American fighter jets flying around protecting the NOTAM off the aircraft carrier. Okay. So before the war breaks out, America's going to be bombing 24/7 Yemen. Why? Well, they don't want to have to worry about these nincompoops in Yemen attacking Israel when Israel attacks Iran and attacking their warships and bases and attacking the Saudis and the UAE and Jordan and all this stuff. They don't want them active. This is mandatory. Houthis have to be deactivated as a military fighting force before the attack in Iran. And Trump's got weeks to bomb the Houthis day and night. And the Yemen army is going to rise up against them. This is going to be a civil war that's going to be very violent, a lot of death, probably result in the destruction of Edom. Yemen in the Bible is called Edom. That's what it is, as in Edomites. Read Jeremiah 49. It also is very clear it's on the Red Sea. Saudi Arabia is not it. It's Yemen. Okay. So Trump's got a few weeks to keep attacking Yemen. And when the civil war breaks out, after they've been bombed for many more days, what good are they going to do? Nothing. They'll still run around with pistols, AK-47s, RPGs, but they can't do anything to America or Israel with those weapons. So that is what I'm seeing happening to Yemen. And again, they need to deactivate Yemen. Let me explain on another level. They've got 2 aircraft carriers now dedicated to attacking Yemen with several escort vessels to protect the ships. When Yemen is deactivated, they're going to pull those aircraft carriers away from Yemen and focus on Iran. What do they need to bother with Yemen for? Yemen's historical. So is Yemen going down memory lane? Yes. Is Yemen on the endangered species list? That's an underestimation now. I would describe Yemen as circling the drain. They haven't gone down the drain yet, but they'll shortly go down the drain. And then when the other 2 aircraft carriers are here and all the equipment's moved in and the other things America is doing, like getting their allies to hook up in this fight and so forth, the more the merrier, because the more people in the fight, the less chance of blowback from the UN and the press. So, yeah, Yemen's going to be going down the drain, but they're circling the drain right now. And according to Bible prophecy, the regular government of Yemen doesn't make it. So the civil war is going to be pretty aggressive, I expect. America's going to help Yemen. Don't worry about it. They'll have Green Berets, Navy SEALs helping them, etc. Reconnaissance drones, reconnaissance aircraft, cyber warfare, intercepting transmissions of the Houthis and de-encrypting them, and all kinds of stuff. I'm going to take a quick break, and we're going to get deeper into it. We just started. There's a lot more of this. And I got my leg caught in the cord here. Let's get it out. So the takeaway with Yemen is that they have to be militarily deactivated. So America doesn't have to keep 2 aircraft carrier groups there attacking them. It could turn its attention to Iran fully. Okay? That's the takeaway. All right? And it'll happen. They're going to be getting bombed by America, and they're going to have a civil war from the government, and the place is going to be a disaster area. It's going to be a dump forever. That's the Bible prophecy, Jeremiah 49. It's good to read Ezekiel 25 with that too. Okay. Now, America is beefing up its predominantly reconnaissance activity now in the Asia-Pacific theater. Why? Because they are a little worried Iran may try starting to attack Taiwan, North Korea, South Korea when the Middle East goes down, but also to make to make China worried and nervous. They don't like China messing in the Middle East. They're getting China antsy. Why all this extra surveillance going on now in the Middle East? And America's been bringing weapons in the Asia Pacific, and they've been bringing weapons into Asia Pacific too. So China's got a problem with that now. So they're thinking if we come and run over to help Iran, that leaves us weaker in the Asia Pacific, our home area. Then America could come after us over there. So maybe America's trying to set us up. See, this tells me Trump is not a stupid individual. What's the Hezbollah in Lebanon up in Gaza going to do right now? Nothing. Israel attacks them every day. Weapons storage, weapons facility, military targets, the Hezbollah, targeted assassinations. They're not a threat. Israel's not going to have to divert a lot of resources to them. They could do stupid things, but it wouldn't be serious. Hamas is not seriously able to attack Israel anymore. They may try to raise their 30,000 and storm into Gaza, but they'll just get massacred, but it will cause damage in Gaza. Now, when Israel fights against Iran, you got to understand Israel has no need to deploy infantry and tanks, armored personnel carrying stuff like that. So we're perfectly competent, able to protect any kind of a ground incursion from Gaza or a suicide attack, or the same from Hezbollah in Lebanon. So that's not an issue. Syria right now is quiet. The HDS government's not very interested in jihadist activities. They're trying to get their money together, get their control fortified, get everybody unified, and, stuff like that. They're not interested in doing anything right now. Iraq is a wild card. They are more than likely going to help Iran. That's going to be a rough one for them, and they're going to get busted up. What's Russia and China going to do about this at this time? We don't know. They could always assemble a big fleet of warships and hope America backs down. But I don't know. It's too soon to tell what they'll do. We don't know. Now, what I'm telling you Iran is aware of. Okay. Remember when the Japanese attacked America with Pearl Harbor? They were in constant negotiations with America over purchasing steel and other things. So Iran may be in negotiations with Trump, and they're seeing this. Now, you got to remember, the people that run Iran belong in a psychiatric hospital for the criminally insane, okay? They don't care about their people. They really don't care if 14 or 15 million people got killed. I'm telling you, you've got to understand them. Oh, they were martyrs, they don't care. They've got their bunkers they're going to go to, which are probably, more than 1,500 feet in a mountain someplace. And it's highly, in their minds, nothing's going to happen to them there. Is Trump possibly working up new penetrator bombs, and it's going to take a couple of weeks to manufacture a bunch of them? Yeah. Do you think going back 2 years, let's say, or a year and a half, America didn't start working on better, more powerful bunker buster bombs, but perhaps never put them into production? So they might have put together prototypes, and now they got them in, they've tested them, and now they're going to put them in production, and it's going to take some time to get them. And that's another possibility going on here. If Iran does do a preemptive attack, what would they hit? What the big advantage to Iran right now doing a preemptive attack is they have some over-the-horizon radar working. So what their primo target would be Diego Garcia, but I don't think they have any missiles that can reach it. Could it be that China and Russia flew missiles in to Iran that would reach it? Yeah, but yeah, it could be. I don't know. They could give them the missiles and risk the blowback from Trump over this, but just having a missile that could reach it doesn't mean the missile's going to get in. Okay. And it's a pretty long throw. So there would be a good amount of warning, and the planes could just start taking off. And you'd have to have a pretty precise hit. You'd have to hit the hangars and the planes on the runway. That's pretty precision for a long shot. And Iran's radar probably doesn't reach that far anyway, so they would need to get, Chinese drones or AWACS or warships to help them, or Russian such ships and AWACS. And that'd be a pretty bold move for China and Russia, just slipping missiles to Iran. So getting Diego Garcia, I don't think it's highly likely. What they can hit potently, powerfully, and multiple times is the American bases in Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, maybe get into Syria and Jordan, and the Houthis would be able to hit, if they can still function, which they evidenced a few hours ago they can by slinging a missile towards Haifa. They could do a lot of damage in Saudi Arabia, maybe the UAE and Jordan as well. So that's one big reason why Trump is pounding them 24/7. Now, the other thing that Iran would likely do is hit all the countries working with America. Kuwait has 5,000 American soldiers stationed there. So they take down the Kuwait oil refineries. Can Iran do that? Yeah, no problem. Can they take down the oil refineries in Qatar and Bahrain? Yeah. America has a huge air base in Qatar. Could it get hit easily by Iran? And the big Navy base in Bahrain could get hit, American Navy base. UAE could get hit. Now, there's a lot of American military personnel in Qatar, Bahrain, and the UAE. Then they could probably get into Jordan and maybe get the bases in Syria at the north. They may persuade Iraq to hit oil refineries also, so they're not the only ones attacking. Iraq and Iran is attacking at the same time, and the American bases. If they hit the American bases, I would say Trump has full right to declare war on Iran. He doesn't have to go to Congress. It's rather obvious, okay? If they hit the oil refineries, it's similar situation for Trump. Because they're attacking American allies to get even with America. You know? They've even stated that. Now that could take oil prices and run it up to 120 a barrel, 220, 320, I don't know. Depends how many they hit, it's going to go up. Gold is probably very easily going to go to 4,000 an ounce. And I think Trump is waiting for gold after this attack on Iran. Gold could go to 5,000 or even more. People are saying 10,000. People are talking like if you got 10 ounces of silver, you'll be able to retire. They're talking about silver going to like $1,000 or $3,000 an ounce, okay? That's because money is not worth much these days, paper money, you know. So that is rough. I mean, that could happen. And silver's in the 32s now, and gold dropped down. It was in, I think, the mid 33s. So, see, what I think happened to gold is it got close. It was at 34.50 or something. And people got nervous about buying gold because they were saying, this is a temporary spike, and I don't want to buy in at 34 because it could be worth 31 or 32 a day or two from now. So the demand for people buying at that high price went away, and then the people that wanted to sell and take profits started taking lesser amounts. And when the fighting starts, it's going to go like a rocket ship. It could go to 5,000. It could go more. There's a lot of people that think $10,000 an ounce of gold is where you're headed. I don't know how many buyers there's going to be if gold's at 10,000. If the markets are crashing at the same time, which is probably at least an 80-90% likelihood, and they suspend trading, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go into gold. So the demand for buyers will be there like crazy. Okay. That's the reality. It's very hard for me to imagine any scenario where gold's going to spike tremendously and silver's not going to triple. So you could triple your money a lot quicker in silver. If silver goes to, 99 an ounce or something like that, say $100 an ounce, you tripled. Where gold would have to go to $9,000 an ounce for you to triple. But it may very well do that. I don't know, but it's going to go. But you might have trouble trying to figure out what the value of gold is because somebody's going to be cutting the internet cables, rest assured, I would think. And you're also going to have trouble getting prices for gold. It's going to be more or less like, in Oklahoma City, you might get 5,300 for gold. In Miami Beach, you may get 8,900 for gold. It could be like that. Because there's not going to be any internet setting the price. Now, when the gold gets high enough, I think what the Donald's going to do is then all of a sudden, him and Elon Musk are going to have the audit of Fort Knox. Okay? And you're going to find the gold is all there, and it's real gold. And then Trump can take, let's say the gold's 4,500 an ounce, he could back a new American digital currency with the gold reserves, which are going to be huge because the price of gold, let's say the price of gold is 7,500. He can monetize a tremendous amount of digital currency with that gold. So it's just going to be a wild ride. When you got weird market fluctuations, it could be them manipulating the market. When you got natural disasters, and I mean the kind where 80,000 people get killed or 400,000, major cities are gone, missiles, fires, war, then the markets close and they may never open again. They're not going to close for a day or two. They're going to close for a long time. And people are going to lose their investments entirely because they're not going to be able to sell. The market's not operating. You can't do anything with it. How many people actually have the physical stock certificates of the stocks they own? They don't. It's through the brokerage company. And even if you had it, who are you going to sell it to? But if you're sitting there and you open up your safe and you look at your gold and your silver and you touch it, that's a whole other animal, isn't it? But the vast majority of these people buy the stuff on paper only, which is their stupidity. But they believe in the government of the United States. They're Satan bots, and they don't think it's ever going to change, and blah, 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 and they're going to lose. All right, so it might get to a point where you could buy a nice new car for an ounce of gold. Cars will drop in value. I don't know, gasoline. It's all complicated. So is Afghanistan going to help America attack Iran because they have a border? I think so. There were American planes seen at this old air base that America had in Afghanistan, the biggest air base. There was American aircraft spotted there. The Taliban that runs Afghanistan said they denied that they gave control of the air base to America, but they didn't say they were not letting America use the air base. America just needs to use it. They don't need to have possession of it. So nobody's talking about what might or might not happen on this air base because it's very fast strike distance to Iran. It's several hundred miles away. And that's a real problem. And the Taliban would love to invade Iran. They hate them. Some terrorists in India yesterday got 25 characters, 25 guys, and they in Kashmir, and they had these people take their pants off to see if they were circumcised. You may not know this, but many of the Muslims have their boys circumcised. So they had them to check for circumcision. They didn't have circumcision, and they just shot them all dead. So India's not falling in love with Muslim terrorists at this time. So Modi may get into the action. I think he will. I was rumored that they had an aircraft carrier in the Indian Ocean near the Sea of Oman, along with France. And I believe France did because they did a takedown. So this is also some people that might join in. Armenia, Azerbaijan, they may get into the fight. They may not. I don't know. North Korea, nah, they ain't gonna do nothing. Send weapons or something like that. So what I'm telling you is the chess pieces are being moved around on the board. And that's not the same thing as listening and saying, Putin said this, Trump said this, Xi Jinping said this, Netanyahu said that. They all lie, but their actions don't lie. And be on your toes because there could be a preemptive strike by Iran and or China, Russia, North Korea, and Cuba, and Venezuela, Belarus, and all of these idiots. I don't know. They might. Iran had threatened to do a strike in the Caribbean area, which I would think is probably Florida, but it could also mean Puerto Rico and U.S. Virgin Islands. And the Gulf of America, which was the Gulf of Mexico. And, we don't know what Iran is capable of doing. China is in a very heavy economic battle with America, reminiscent of a similar battle with Japan and America before Pearl Harbor. And what China is beginning to do is take goods made in China and move them to other countries quietly and discreetly. And then they probably put something on there in the other country to, make a declaration. Oh, this was made in Indonesia, Malaysia, some other Muslim majority country, and then ship it into America or someplace, and they don't have to pay these high tariffs. And Trump is seeing through that, and that's why he's beginning to tax goods by the category. Now, a lot of solar panels are made in China. And Trump is talking, he hasn't done it yet, talking about putting a 3,500%, 3,500% tariff on solar panels being brought into America. And that would be the end of the China solar panel industry, or at least severely damage it. Let me go through my live stream briefly and see if people are asking questions, because I do like to answer them. Someone put some interesting quotes up. Let's run them down. Genesis 1:29-31. Let's see what that says. That's Beulah announcing her dominance of the street. Okay. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree. And okay. So yeah, I see where you're going with this. People could do the KHAT or something. Yeah, but there's abuse of anything. Watermelon's good, but do you want to eat 4 watermelons every day? Is that good for you? Right? Poison ivy is a plant. That would be an herb, right? Do you want to have some poison ivy soup or poison sumac or poison oak? See, you got to use things in discretion. Opium is there, and it's a natural pain reliever. But do you want to take it because it makes you feel better emotionally? I mean, you've got to use things credibly. God gave us water to drink. Do you want to try to swim across the Atlantic Ocean? See, you got to have a balance. And the other verse that came up was Romans 14:1-4. Let's take a look. Romans 14:1-4. Romans 14:1. Him that is weak in the faith receive you, but not to doubtful disputations. For one believeth that he may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs. Let not him that eateth despise him that eateth not. Okay, so what this is talking about is people don't eat meat, other people do. People don't eat vegetables and other things. It doesn't mean you should eat poison ivy or opium, okay? You got to have a balance, guys, okay? Yeah, the attack on Yemen would be a war. It's over a month now, I believe. I don't believe Iran is very serious about the negotiations. China is collapsing because of the tariffs. You're correct. China is economically collapsing, and that's a good predictor of a war coming. China's not very happy about, oh, well, Trump got us. Let's just fold the country up. No. Beulah, what are you doing? I hope I didn't just hear Beulah jump. I don't think I did. Yeah, the market's bouncing back and forth. When you see the markets go down massively for massive events like cities wiped out, tens of thousands of people and big wars, it won't come back, I don't think. So they took about 1,000 U.S. forces out of Syria so far, and they're going to keep stripping them down slower. It's more about some judge others over what we eat. Yeah, we're not supposed to do that in the New Testament. You could eat what you want, but you got to have a balance, you know. My wife talked me into going on a carnivore diet, and I stayed on it, I don't know, 6 weeks maybe. And I got some benefits and I got some bad effects from it. I would be slow to do it again. So now I'm off it. I eat lots of vegetables and fruit. I cook my vegetables very lightly in the skillet with olive oil, very lightly, not much. And I eat meat and I eat eggs, you know, and I just ordered some cheese. I ran out of cheese. Well, I still junky cheese, but I ran out, you know, and I feel pretty good, you know. And I don't think that's Bueller. I don't know what it was. Could have been a pomelo falling off the tree. We got a good harvest of pomelos from our trees. They're sweet. They're fantastic. They taste like a sweet grapefruit, and they're bigger than an orange. They're really good. Okay. So let's get back into it. Now, this is really interesting. Talk about Trump putting China on edge. In the last several days, thousands of military vehicles and pieces of equipment have been moved by America into the Philippines, the islands. The Philippine Islands is considered a very strategic location for China to attack Taiwan. So this is another way Trump is putting China on edge to discourage them for helping Iran. I think in the final analysis, it's hard to say what China's going to do. China's got it in for America now, big time. Oh, big time. Make sure you expect the unexpected, and you can't really expect or plan for the unexpected, but don't be surprised if you start seeing unexpected things happening, because you probably will. Oh, another thing that happened is 2 U.S. Air Force senior Sentry early warning planes just showed up in the Middle East. 2 of them. These are real sophisticated planes. We're not sure what country they landed in, but they came to the Middle East, is what I'm picking up. Okay, so that's pretty much what I got right now. And I'll keep picking up more stuff. I work Arab social media. I work social media, which derives from the Arabs nations in the Middle East. It derives from Hebrew, the Israeli sites, and other places I go to. And I put it together. I put it on Telegram. And that's... Hang on a second. I'll be right back. I think there's something else to go through. All right. My take, if we're going to leave out preemptive strikes by Iran and Russia, China, and North Korea, we'll leave that out for a minute. I think that the attack on Iran is not going to happen until Kurilla, the CENTCOM four-star general, comes to Israel, which should be this week or on the weekend, something like that, to meet with the Israeli military and Netanyahu. Okay? And I don't think it'll be before the other two aircraft carriers show up in the Middle East theater. And I don't think it's going to be before the Houthis are unable to launch weapons at Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Jordan, and American warships. So I think it's going to continue like this until these things are realized, which will probably happen by mid to late May. Okay? Now, that being said, not for 1 minute should you think Iran, China, North Korea, and Russia won't do a preemptive attack in various places. And those various places could be mainland USA. They could hit America with missiles launched from submarines under the surface, from aircraft, from the sleeper agents all over America. They could hit lots of different ways. And the fire again, North and South Carolina had bad fires, California had bad fires. Now Jersey's getting one, other places have them. I will kindle, the scripture in the Daughter of Babylon prophecies, Jeremiah 50:51, I will kindle fires in and around your cities. This is Jersey, that's near New York already. Knock, knock, wake up. Come on. This is, weird. Volcanoes are going off. Earthquakes, good-sized earthquakes over 5s are happening very, very much more frequently. 5s and 6s, even 7s are pretty frequent now. Bad weather, crazy weather, heat wave records getting broken. All this stuff, guys. Unseasonable snow the wrong time of year, people getting very high temperatures for this time of year where they're located. It's just weird. Israel's weather is weird. Okay? Now, I want to put some Bible thoughts to you. Those who follow me, we're in the year of recompenses now. And look what happened to Hezbollah in Lebanon. Remember the pages blowing up and all that stuff. And look what happened to Hamas. It's a garbage heap. And look what's happening to Yemen. And look what happened to our old enemy, Syria. The guy's gone and, it's quiet over there. Iraq is sitting there like this, chewing their fingernails. They don't know what the heck to do next. And Iran, you think they're sleeping well in Iran? The real insane people running it probably are, They're mentally ill. They probably are, but they're pretty nervous. What if Israel, let's say Iran attacks oil refineries or military bases or Israel, and then Netanyahu with Trump goes, I had it with these lunatics. And then they just go over there and blow up all their oil and natural gas pipelines and their ports, refineries, and everything else. What happens to the Iranian currency? Well, it goes down by 10,000%. In other words, if you were going to go to McDonald's and buy yourself a Big Mac, you'd need a wheelbarrow to get the money to go over there, that type of thing. Literally, that stuff happened in Europe in World War II. Literally with wheelbarrows to take money to the store to buy groceries. Literally. Zimbabwe issues 1 billion, whatever their denomination is, dollar, whatever they call it, 1 billion. They have bills that are worth $1 billion of their dollars, whatever the name they put on it. I mean, Iran would be right there overnight. That's an easy way to put Iran out of the oil business and enforce the sanctions. If they got no pipelines, no refineries, and no ports and piers to offload, you need special equipment. The ships pull up and they got tanks and they run these hoses, usually about three at a time into the ship, and they fill the tanker ship up. It probably takes a day or two or something. I don't know. They fill it up and then the ship takes off. Well, there ain't no ships taking off anymore. There ain't no oil to put in the ships. So what does Iran do then? So that's one big reason why they haven't done a preemptive attack. Netanyahu wants to attack Iran so badly. He is a hateful, vindictive, spiteful individual that loves revenge. And he has had it in for Iran for decades. And he will try to get his pound of flesh out of them. But when Trump says me and Netanyahu are lined up on all issues, that means they've reached an agreement on Iran. Now, Trump may ask Israel to attack first and see what Iran's response is. When people start attacking Iran, I don't care what you attack, okay? If you attack their Walmarts, if you attack their soccer stadiums, their nuclear facilities, their oil, whatever, they're going to start to fire back and hit targets any way they can to show you better stop because I could bite back. That you can take a guarantee on, okay? So this can go big. And we know from Jeremiah 49 that Edom, Yemen, is going to be a devastated wasteland, and so will Elam, E-L-A-M, which is Iran, and some historians feel it covers pieces of Iraq and Syria as well. I think it does. I can't guarantee it, but I think it does. And that place gets hit, Elam, Iran. Iran's not in the Bible. Go look for I-R-A-N in the Bible. You don't find it. Go look for Y-E-M-E-N in the Bible. You don't find it. Yet it's in the Bible. It's Edom and Elam. Iran gets hit so bad by her enemies in the plural. It's not just America. It's not just Israel. It's plural, which could be two, but I have a feeling it's three or more. Now the UAE will kick in, so you know they'll help some. So you got not the UAE, the UK. So you got the UK, you got Israel, you got America, and you're going to probably have another 2 or 3 countries involved. Italy, maybe Germany, maybe India, maybe France. We don't know yet. Okay, I think they're getting it all ready, and that might be another reason for some delay. If it comes to pass that the bunker buster bombs that America has, the MOP and the MOAB, aren't going to go down through 1,640 feet of rock in a mountain, which I don't think they will. They may resort to heavy bombings in the area. They have these 2,000-pound bombs they gave to us in Israel, and it's not a penetrator. It explodes in the atmosphere and makes massive shock waves. Okay? So it can go for a mile even, or a half a mile, something like that. I think a mile or half a mile. So it's going to blow all the troops in the area out. They're going to be damaged. Then they're not going to drop one. They'll drop, by a nuclear facility, might drop a dozen of them around there. So they're going to just knock out all the personnel, and then they could parachute special forces in America and Israel. that have some methodology to blow the facilities up. It might be, if you want to take out one of the 5 facilities, you drop 200 or 300 special forces in there, or you maybe just need 80 or 100 or something. And they drop these bombs that wipe out all the personnel nearby, and they go in. And they put explosive charges in with timers, then they leave, they kill the personnel down there, and they blow it up. That can be done. And Netanyahu was apparently talking about using special forces for this. So maybe we don't need to over-engineer it and think they're going to have to, do something really creative and unusual that's never been done before. They may just go in with machine guns and go get them. Or they may gas the people inside the facility. They probably wouldn't tell you that, but they may find the air intakes. There got to be air intakes, and gas them. And then there's not even a fight. Then they just descend and put the explosives in there and they leave. Or maybe they don't even bother. They just put heavy explosive charges, which can be parachuted down with them, in all the entrances and exits, which are multiple, and find the air intake and the generators and put heavy charges, like 4,000 or 5,000 pounds of explosives or more even in an exit entrance, and just blow it up. So it collapses and caves in, and they don't have any way of getting in or out. That's a temporary fix, but it's something they can do. Before this is over, they're going to take out the Iranian Navy. They're going to take out the grid. They're going to take out airports. They're going to take out ports and piers. They're going to take out infrastructure, military bases. It's not going to be a waste heap. And the people, it says in the Bible in Jeremiah 49, they will leave. Well, let's read it. It's at the end of Jeremiah 49. And this is the only real truth you can get. So what I try to do is line up the current events with the Bible prophecies that are for this time, which this is, and look at what's going on with a greater insight than the people that just report the news do. If you read Jeremiah 49, Saudi Arabia gets it also. We're in Jeremiah 49, verse 35. Thus saith Jehovah of hosts. That means armies. Hosts is like armies. Behold, armies of angels, you might say, right? Behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. Now, the bow represents the missile launcher. An arrow is a missile. A missile's a missile. And a bow launches an arrow, right? But a missile launcher launches a missile. And that's the strength of Iran, Elam. Okay? And it gets broken. So that would tell me the missile cities, etc., go down the tubes, right? So there's going to be some attacks on the missile cities too. What's to say they don't land 2,000 or 3,000 advanced, highly trained commando type special forces to destroy multiple locations like this? They don't have to do it all in one day either. And upon Elam will I bring the 4 winds from, let's check that word for winds. If it's Ruach, it is. Okay, the 4 winds from the 4 quarters of heaven, and will scatter them towards all those winds, and there shall be no nation whither the outcasts of Elam shall not come. So he's saying he's going to blow them about into every nation in the world. They're going to have to leave. So they're not all going to get killed, but they're going to have to leave. And that's going to tell me what? There's no infrastructure, no power, no gas, right? No oil to sell, so they have no economy. They fall apart. And they leave. For I will cause Elam to be dismayed before their enemies. Let's look up the word dismayed. To be shattered, to be dismayed, to be broken. So they're going to get busted up before their enemies. And before them that seek their life. And I will bring evil upon them, even my fierce anger, saith Jehovah, and I will send the sword after them till I have consumed them. Iran has been horrible towards Israel, and we're in the year of recompenses. So why is America going to be successful in attacking Iran, Elam? Because it's uniting with Israel, and they seem to be doing it together. And it's going to work. Look at Israel's track record. Syria, Assad's gone. Hamas busted out. Yemen in the process of being devastated. Hezbollah busted out. Iraq not fighting us anymore. Okay? And this is what's going to happen to Iran. Does that mean that America's off the hook? No. God's just using America. They've done so much evil to us since 1979, it's not even funny. And I will set my throne in Elam. That doesn't mean he's going to rule out of Elam. It means when he judges, he sits on his throne and judges. That's what he means. And will destroy from thence the king and the princes, saith Jehovah. The king would be Khomeini, the supreme leader. But the princes would be the lesser leaders. And it shall come to pass in the latter days that I will bring again the captivity of Elam, saith Jehovah. So in the latter days, towards the end of the second 70 years of Daniel 9:24, which doesn't say 70 weeks in every single Hebrew manuscript, it says 70. That when the second 70 is coming towards the end, the Persian Empire will rise up again, because it says in the scriptures in Ezekiel, it doesn't say Iran, it doesn't say Elam, it says Persia. Not exactly the same geography that we see today. Although maybe, but I don't think it is. So is Iran circling the drain? Nah, not yet. Are they on the endangered species list, ready to take a trip down memory lane to be nothing more than a memory? Absolutely. Absolutely. This thing of Netanyahu doing it by himself is silly, because Iran said that if they're attacked by any of us, Israel, America, they're going to go after the oil refineries and the American bases. They'll go after consulate embassies. They'll launch missiles at Israel. Probably, if they can, they'll try to attack Israel. And they'll use Iraq and the Houthis and Yemen to attack whoever they can. And they'll attack America directly with sleeper agents, ships, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Nah, it's not going to happen that way. So what's going to happen between now and the latter May? Well, America's going to keep stacking their pieces up on the chessboard, getting ready for the onslaught. And that's what we're going to see. And Trump is going to shine them on with making believe he's taking these moronic negotiations seriously, which I don't think he is. They said they would need more in the negotiations than they got out of Obama years ago, 2015 deal or something. That's when he flew $1 billion over in an aircraft to them. What stupidity, I tell you. Let's see what's cooking in the chat, if I got questions or anything. If anybody needs prayer requests, put it in the chat. The only medals I would get is gold and silver, and it's much better than holding anything else, really. The place in Petra that they're supposed to go, Israelis are supposed to go to, is not stated in the Bible, number one. Number two, the Petra is more like what you would consider a very small neighborhood. It's like a very small urban college campus. And that building you see the pictures of could maybe hold 200 people. It's this fiction, Petra. Iraq will do something. They're a puppet of Iran. They need Iran because they're worried about the Syria HTS people taking Iraq out. So they're banking on Iran to be a buffer for them, to help them if Syria goes after them. So they're not going to turn their back on Iran. They're going to get decimated, I would think. Only after Italy gets involved. I think Italy will be involved. Subtle signs. Oh, America's going to win this one. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But it may start getting attacked, though. But Iran's finished. Very shortly, I'm pretty sure I'll be saying they're going down the drain now, but not yet. Thinking. So you got to pay attention. Sleeper attacks on America, missile and drone attacks on America from aircraft and ships. You got to pay attention. These are the days, okay? China's fuming mad. North Korea is insane. They'll do what China wants. Iran is insane and fuming mad. And Trump is mad. Putin is mad. Be advised that I expect this type of stuff will sooner or later happen in America. Well, I think that's what I got for today. So I'm Moshe. You might want to subscribe if you want to stay up to date on this. You're not hearing any other people put the pieces of the chessboard together for you like this and then lining it up with Bible prophecy. I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and please pray for me and my wife for our peace, safety, protection, and joy, and healing of our bodies, and pray for our animals and pets, which are all rescues, to be happy, healthy, and whole. Pray for our finances. One more time, Please, if possible, use PayPal, not Patreon. Okay? Please shift it over if you can. I greatly appreciate it. Okay? And don't use GoFundMe unless you absolutely have to. You can't use anything else. Okay? And pray for better videos that I get more insights and more knowledge and information about this. And we get more insights into Bible prophecy, sequence, timing, lots of things. And pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And I hope you got something out of it. And remember, with all this stuff coming on you, lift up your heads, because your redemption draweth nigh. It's at the doors right now. I'm out. Thanks, guys.